Welcome in, everybody, to Betting Pros. It's time to place your bets. It is me, Joey P, Joe Pisapia, and this is BPNFL. It's time to look ahead to Week 14. We got 6 teams on a bye, but that's not going to stop us from placing some early bets on some early lines. And to help me do it, the Undertaker himself, Andrew Erickson, is here as always, fresh off the Patriots game. He saw in person live another L for the Patriots, which I'm very happy about. Erickson, for some reason, seems frustrated. Like, I get it. It's a down day when you leave after an L, but it's all about the draft picks at the end of the day. By the way, it's also the end of the 49ers season last night as well. We set the over-under 4.5 games, and it came in just under for Christian McCaffrey this season. What a bummer. But 400 plus touches. I mean, every single year we talk about this. Whenever something happens like that, you got to be leery of the guy. And now it's safe to say the 49ers are playing for 2025.
9% chance they have of making the playoffs. That's what the 49ers.
It's that high?
So yeah, it is that high. Surprisingly, they have the same record. I didn't realize this, but I was looking. They have the same playoff odds as the Dallas Cowboys. It's like right in the same. It's right in the same ballpark, which is just. I mean, again, at the beginning of the season, you're like, yeah, that makes sense. Like Dallas and the San Francisco 49ers, like two good teams, and then
you know what's funny? At the end of the season, it still makes sense. That they both have the same possibility of making the playoffs.
Just don't ask what the actual record is. Just don't tell those people. But the lesson here, though, with the 49ers, we've talked about this on the show, is you got to fade the team. You got number one, that loses the Super Bowl. And number two,
every year,
whoever is the healthiest team the year before. The 49ers were the healthiest team last year.
Yeah, that was a big one for you.
Impossible. And even on the broadcast, Mike Tirico, one of the things he talked about, 49ers, decimated by injuries. Like, you just can't bet on the same type of injury luck in back-to-back seasons. So just something to keep in mind as we head into the 2025 offseason. We look back and say, who was the healthiest team this year? Well, we're going to fade that team in 2025.
Well, look at the Eagles turn around. So don't fret, 49er fans. Things could turn around. Look how good the Eagles are this year. You just got to stay hopeful there. All right, before we get into the games, quick bit of business, giving away free stuff. The signed Mike Evans Buccaneers helmet is gone, and the winner is Gabriel Azcárraga. Gabriel, you are the big winner, so get in touch with us. Contact us over there. Actually, we'll get in touch with you. What am I saying? We're going to hit you up, Gabriel, because it's the holidays and you're busy. So congratulations, Gabriel Azcárraga. You have won the Mike Evans Buccaneers signed helmet. So our team will be reaching out to you. And if you want a chance to win something cool this holiday season, how about a signed Lawrence Taylor Giants jersey? Yeah, remember when the Giants were good at football? Lawrence Taylor running around sacking people. It was a simpler time in the 80s and early 90s. So if you want a chance to win the signed Lawrence Taylor Giants jersey for free, courtesy of our friends at pristineauction.com, all you need to do is head to bettingpros.com/contest, complete the form, and either download the Betting Pros app, leave a review of the Betting Pros podcast, or subscribe to our social media channels at Betting Pros on X, on TikTok, and Betting Pros NFL on the Instagram. The more actions you complete, the more entries you receive, and we'll be announcing the winner right here on the channel. So make sure you turn on those notifications so you can be like Gabriel and you'll be the next winner of the signed Lawrence Taylor jersey giveaway. All right, let's kick things off with Green Bay, Detroit. How about this one? Now we're cooking. Woo! Detroit, well, they were handed a victory by Matt Eberflus, who was handed his walking papers directly after, and rightfully so. That was insane. I'm watching the end of that game, Erickson. Short ribs are slow cooking in the oven. And I'm watching. I'm like, what the hell's going on here? Why aren't we kicking a field goal? What's going on? Why are we going timeout? I don't know what's going on. Oh, the Bears. But anyway, Detroit is now 11-1. Green Bay coming out with another victory. So they continue to be red hot. They've won 7 of the last 8, I believe. So they are 3.5-point underdogs, which makes sense going to Detroit. The number, and I know you love this place for overs, it's 51.5. It's a big number. Plus 162 on the money line for Green Bay for the upset. Now, Detroit did have a lot of injuries in this game on the defensive side. That's the one thing I will point out. Are they a little vulnerable here for not just a cover, but maybe even an upset and a little hiccup here?
100%. Yeah, I would be very afraid, essentially, to bet on the Lions here. I get that they're playing at home, but this is a game we're expecting to be a shootout. Last week, we had the over. They just kicked the field goal, the game's going to overtime, and then the next score is going to put the game over the total. So I was extremely bitter because I didn't even care if the Bears covered or not. Like, the Bears were going to cover that game, especially what they did in the second half. But I was looking at where they had the ball. I'm like, all right. And I'm doing like all the outcomes in my head. Okay, the over's going to hit. They're going to kick the field goal. It's going to go to overtime in the next score.
I was in it with you.
And then it didn't happen. But what are the odds we get back-to-back unders at Coors Field in the NFL? Probably very unlikely. So I like the over in this game. you cited all the injuries on the Lions side of the field. So yes, the Packers are going to put up points here. They're going to get healthy. They're going to get Romeo Doubs back potentially. So I like their offense in this matchup. And when you have to push the Lions, like, we know they can score against anybody. So they may be a little bit vulnerable, like you said. And when you're playing in a shootout, it goes to, hey, who gets the ball last? So if Green Bay gets the ball last, you know they can come away with a win here. So I think from a value perspective, just take the Packers to win on the money line, right? I think that's kind of the best value play. If you don't like want to bet the total, which again, that would be my favorite bet, which would be the over. But for a value proposition, I think, let's take the Packers on the money line.
Yeah, plus 162 works for me. The Jets, Miami Dolphins. Miami can't beat anybody with a record over 500 ever. That's the old Mike McDaniel way, and yet he, still is like beloved. It's so funny. The highlight of me for Sunday was watching Leonard Williams run that pick six back on Aaron Rodgers, watching the big boy run. It was fun. That was just a good time. So here we go. Jets, Dolphins. Miami 6.5 point favorites at home. 45 is the number, plus 240 for the Jets on the money line. The Jets just, keep on jetting. I don't have a lot of faith in Miami, but considering the path of what Miami does, they beat the teams that are no good and they lose to the teams that are any good. And that's why the Dolphins are a 5-7 football team. Your thoughts?
Yeah, I think that's exactly what the analysis is. This is the game where last week was one of the easiest fades of Miami Dolphins because cold weather, good team on the road at night, can't play them at all. This is the exact opposite of that spot, right? At home in the warm weather against a bad reeling team in the division. Yeah, I think this is an easy spot for the Miami Dolphins.
The Jets being favored so often too. We talked about it last week. I was like, what's happening? Like, why are the Jets favored so much this year? And they just cannot.
Well, it's funny because I wasn't watching all the games because of the Patriots game, and so I look at the scoreboard. I'm like, oh, the Jets are winning. Like, they're out. Okay, classic Seahawks. Well,
I mean, they had here's the thing. They had a return kick for a touchdown. Yeah. That helped a lot. And you just had the sense though that it was going to fall apart. He had the Breece Hall fumble, and then Breece Hall had a big fumble at midfield in that game, and then the pick six that Aaron Rodgers threw that where he went to the house. He was like a 92-yard big boy run back. When the big boys are running, and they're chugging along, those big 300-pounders.
You're telling me Aaron Rodgers didn't run him down?
There was one of the comments I made about it yesterday. I was like, it's funny. I see these linemen chasing after him. I don't see Aaron Rodgers chasing after him.
Just walking back to the bench.
He was probably blaming somebody else for the fact he threw a pick there. All right, the Atlanta Falcons. Oh, God, were they miserable. Kirk Cousins off the bye, just throw the football all over the place to the other team. Minnesota Vikings, they're at 10-2. They're 4.5 point favorites at home. 45.5 is the number, plus 185 for the Falcons on the money line. Look, I'm taking Minnesota here, put my head down. Like, the Falcons have had a lot of chances to walk away with this division. Dare I say run, and they refuse to take them. I'm going to take the defense of the Minnesota Vikings, who, look, again, struggled at times yesterday. I thought it was great that Aaron Jones got, after the fumbles there, got another opportunity to, redeem himself. And that's good coaching. And that's, taking care of your players and realizing that, you're going to need the Aaron Jones of the world if you're going to win games. So I'm just going to take the Vikings here with the 4.5 because I have zero faith in the Atlanta Falcons at this point. I know it's the Kirk Cousins revenge game narrative. If that's what you want to sell me on, I'm listening. But the way the defense is playing and the way for the Vikings and the way the offense has been playing for the Falcons, I don't know. I don't see it.
Yeah, I'm not touching this game. I think that the Kirk Cousins revenge game thing matters in the how tight this game can be. Again, you look at it, does Brian Flores have the advantage against Cousins or does Cousins have the advantage against Flores? Because again, you have familiar opponents that, hey, I know your weaknesses and strengths and then what ends up happening is whatever the result of the game is, oh, well, clearly with Flores had the edge over Cousins just based on whatever happens, but we don't really know going in who is going to have the upper hand. So I think that the total is razor sharp. I think the line is pretty spot on kind of where my projections are. So look, I mean, the Vikings, all they do is play in close games, right? That's their MO. So if this is going to go down to being a close game with Kirk Cousins getting the ball against Minnesota, I mean, I don't really want to bet on that confidently. So I think this is going to be a tight game. So I'm probably just going to stay away.
Carolina, your Carolina Panthers, 3-9, almost another victory. Oh, they're so close every week. Oh my goodness. I don't want them to win though, because they had them in the win total under 3.5. So I'm kind of screwed if they win another game. So
they're not winning this week. So.
Well, they're not winning this week because they're playing the Philadelphia Eagles. The Eagles are 13 point favorites. Eagles handled their business. last night, or should I say yesterday afternoon, against the Ravens. 45.5 is the number, plus 500. Now, it is a lot of points, though. So is there a little bit of a letdown here for the Eagles going home, conquering heroes here against, coming off that big win, big game with big attention against the Ravens, where maybe you overlook the Panthers a little bit, because that seemed like the Panthers took the Chiefs to the edge. They pushed to overtime last week. Like, they are in it. The Carolina Panthers are not going quietly into that good night, and 13 is a big number.
Yeah, I think that the easiest play on this game is you got to live bet the Eagles, right? What did we see last week? What were they down 9-0, right, to the Ravens? Because the Eagles don't score in the first quarter. They just it's like
strong starters.
They don't start out strong, so that's how you get the best number on the Eagles. So you wait for Carolina, who has been, again, like you said, like they've improved. Would it surprise me at all if Carolina, hey, we want the ball, we want to score first, they get a touchdown to open the game. All right, now the lines move. Now you're getting the Eagles at a better number. That's how I would probably approach this. Because again, I don't want to lay, what you said, 13.5 points with anything that has to do with Nick Sirianni. Because whenever he gets his pause on certain things, I'm always like, hey, stop, please. Ultimately, if they cover this game, it's because of their defense, and the Panthers don't score, more than 10 points because Fangio, and if they're going to put the clamps down on Bryce Young. So that's probably how I would approach it. I probably wouldn't do any pre-betting on this game, except for looking at the Eagles live.
This one is curious. You have the New York Football Giants, 2-10 at home, 4.5 point underdogs at home to the Saints, who have nobody left. I mean, Taysom Hill's hurt now. There's no Olave, so Shaheed. I mean, I don't know what they've got left. They're 4.5 point favorites, though, on the road against the Giants, because the Giants are the Giants. 39 is the number, plus 170 for the Giants on the money line. Andrew, your thought?
Under. MetLife Stadium is where totals go to die. And I can't picture how are they scoring points in this game? Is it just going to be MVS again? Is MVS is going to catch? He probably will, because it's 3 straight weeks where he's
3 catches for 80 yards and 2 touchdowns for Marquez Valdez.
And I don't have any confidence in the Giants moving the ball. I mean, yeah, just bet the under in this game. I don't want to touch the sides here.
That's where I was going. I think the 39.5, give me the under. I mean, 2 offenses that might not be able to get out of their own way because the personnel there is just falling apart.
It's also December. It's December. It's New York. Sure. You're getting a dome team. A Derek Carr dome team as favorites on the road without weapons. Yeah, that sounds like a great bet to make.
It feels like the Giants get honestly, if you want to throw caution to the wind, this is a game the Giants should win.
Probably.
Because the Saints have nothing left. Plus 170 on the money line. It makes sense to me, but it's hard to bet the Giants. Like, it is tough, man.
Because you don't know what are they like. I mean, they have the number 1 pick, right? So they're in the driver's seat to lose games. Like that's why that's something you have to keep in mind with some of these upsets, where it's like the Giants are probably, hey, if the game is tight, they might find a way to lose. Like when push comes to shove, they may. Hey,
but I don't know if this regime gets to make that pick.
I don't know. I mean, they did try to start Tommy. They convinced us Tommy DeVito was the best starter that they had. They did tell us that, and that was clearly false.
Well, that evaluation system can't possibly be broken then. The Jacksonville Jaguars and Tennessee Titans are going to lock up here. Oh, the Jags, terrible hit there on Trevor Lawrence. Dirty play, no good. So he'll be out for the foreseeable future. The Tennessee Titans, it's funny. Will Levis, continues to put up some fantasy points there. So they are 4.5 point favorites in this one against Jacksonville, which honestly feels about right to me. 40 is the number for this game, plus 185. Just keep betting Nick Westbrook-Ikhine anytime touchdowns, because it's always 2-1 and it always hits. He has 8 touchdowns. He's tied with George Kittle for the I think it's the 3rd most. The only people ahead of him, I don't know if do you know who was ahead of Nick Westbrook-Ikhine right now? I played this game earlier.
One is Jamar Chase.
One is Jamar Chase with 13. So Nick Westbrook-Ikhine is tied for 3rd with George Kittle with 8, and then there's 2 guys with 9. You want to take a guess? That's it.
Two other receivers.
2 other receivers for receiving touchdowns. One plays in Washington.
Not tight ends. Oh, McLaurin.
One plays in Washington. That's an easy one.
McLaurin.
And then a guy who likes to catch 200 balls after practice every time. Just catching balls all over the place. Amon-Ra. That's it. And then Nick Westbrook-Ikhine, folks. I wonder what that would be if you just kept rolling that money over every week. That must have been pretty good. At some point, that, some pretty good stuff right there. Just keep taking that NWI money. But look, I don't know where you want to go with this one, because, the Mac Jones experiment in Jacksonville has not been a good one. Tennessee has issues of their own. Do you see any early value on this line?
I think it's just on the Titans. I mean, the Titans are one of these teams that plays well at home. And I can't believe that. Again, I haven't really fully watched the Jaguars-Texans game from last week. I don't know how the Jaguars covered the game. Like, because I like the Jaguars with the points. Like, they're at home. They got Lawrence back. Lawrence immediately gets knocked out. I'm like, well, this bet is dead. There's no way the Jaguars are going to cover. They somehow only lose by 3 points because the Texans, as we'll get into, just, I mean, one of the most overrated teams this year and last year, just so overrated. So, but the Jaguars aren't playing at home. They're playing on the road. And the Titans, this is one thing that they can do is usually win and play well at home. They have a good defense. So even if Will Levis turns the ball over once or twice, Mac Jones is going to at least match him in terms of turnovers. So I like the Titans.
True. All right, Las Vegas and Tampa. So Vegas has really nothing to play for anymore. They're a 2-win team. Also, they're done. Tampa has everything to play for. They are now 6-6. They are right there for this division. And Baker Mayfield is not getting any MVP love, but he deserves it. He deserves it. He has put this team on his back and carried them. 7.5-point favorites. A big number here. The Raiders have some issues with the health of the running backs too. 44.5 is the number, plus 260 on the money line. Can Tampa, cover this 7.5? It is a pretty large number.
I don't like 7.5 for the Buccaneers. You want to get Tampa Bay when you're getting some type of value on the line, whether it's because they're underdogs or on the road, right? That's kind of where Baker Mayfield, that's where he thrives, right? When there's doubt. But with this line, it's no, Tampa Bay gonna roll no matter what. They're playing at home. The Raiders are horrible. The Raiders should have beat the Chiefs, right? Like, again, like going back to like Aiden O'Connell, I think is really underrated as a quarterback. Like, he doesn't really have a lot to work with, but he knows how to get the ball to Brock Bowers and Jacoby Myers. Like, he knows what he has to do.
Sure does.
So I thought he played really. I mean, the Raiders were able to run the football on the Chiefs with no-name running backs that we have never even heard of. Sincere
McCormick, come on.
He sounds like a Thanksgiving spice that you put under the certain types of pie. The Sincere, you can't forget it. The Sincere McCormick, got to put it on. So I think that this Raiders team again is. I think it's too many points. So I will take the Raiders. Again, you're not worried about weather. They're playing in Tampa Bay. I like the Raiders.
I'm with you. I think I'm on the Raiders side of this game too with the points. Also, Cleveland and Pittsburgh in the rematch. A very salty game in the snow a couple weeks ago, but this time the Pittsburgh Steelers are now 9-3, 6.5-point favorites at home. 42 is the number, plus 235. I like the Steelers here for a little revenge game. The weather kind of made that game get out of control. Pittsburgh offensively, really pushed the football yesterday very well. Yes, it was against Cincinnati Bengals, but the Cleveland Browns have their issues as well. I'm curious to see what the Browns do tonight. Maybe that will change a little of my tune, but again, these in-division games are typically tighter. Do you like the under in this one? Do you see any other value?
I think the under is probably a smart play here, but I agree with you. The Steelers, like, do we really expect the Steelers to drop both games against the Browns, especially with they're at home and they know that, hey, we have that sour taste in our mouth of when the Browns beat us 2 weeks ago, even though we think that we're the better team. You had George Pickens sounding off, and I mean, he's got his whole other thing going on with all these penalties and mouthing off.
Oh my God.
And
George Pickens is just picking fights. That's what he is. Picking fights.
It's like one of these things. It's like, yes, like Steelers, like they have all these diva receivers that are usually pretty productive, but like he's got to keep it in check because that's what'll kill this bet at 6.5 is if George Pickens does something really stupid and gives the Browns some free points at the end of the game. So but for right now, I don't think that this line is going to move in favor of the Browns after they played the Denver Broncos on the road against that defense. Even if that game is like tight and the Browns cover, I don't envision that it's going to be, Winston over 300 passing yards, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions. A perfect day for Jameis Winston on the road against Denver. I want to get on the Steelers early here.
All right, next one here is Seattle Seahawks, who are the best team in the West. Make no mistake about it. It's the Seahawks. It's the Seahawks. It's
not according to this. Not according to this line.
I know, and I think it's wrong. I think it's straight up wrong. I think the Seattle Seahawks are the team. They beat Arizona a couple weeks ago in their own building, and now they're going to go to Arizona where they're underdogs, and I think they're going to take this personally. I am on Seattle in this one, plus 120 on the money line, 45.5. Look, Seattle's finding ways to win. They are relatively healthy. I have not liked what I've seen out of Kyler Murray the last 2 weeks at all. So I'm just, this is it. Like, I'm just taking Seattle, and I think Seattle will take this personally. Seattle's a chance to get ahead, stay ahead, and pull away with this division now that the 49ers are done. So this is an easy one for me. This is one of my favorite ones of the week. I'm going straight to Seattle. Do you agree or disagree?
I disagree.
All right,
the Cardinals. I like the Cardinals when they first played the Seahawks. I like the Cardinals this week to win. They should have won. They should have beat the Vikings. They should have beat the Vikings. Like if they get converted any of those red zone opportunities where they move the football, they should have beaten the Vikings straight up. Again, they still covered. I think it was like 3.5, 4 point spread. So I like the Arizona Cardinals playing at home. Look, this NFC West has been wacky, right? So I mean, there's a reason why the Cardinals are favorites, right? Again, maybe it's because they're playing at home, but I like the Birds here. I've been generally on the positive side of Arizona most of the season. And look, Seattle, yeah, I think that they're good, but are they a great team? I don't know. Like, who is going to win this NFC West? Who's going to stand up? We know it's not the 49ers. We know it's not them. But there just seems like every week these teams are trying to give away the NFC West to somebody else. So I like the Birds at home.
I don't know. I think Seattle's got the special juice going. Whatever that is, that little thing, they're playing their best football again. Look, they had a little rough patch in the middle there. They started off hot. They got a little rough patch. I feel like they're buying in. I think the JSN, emergence here in the second half of the season has been really good too. So I think Seattle finds a way yet again to get it done. I got no faith in Arizona or Kyler Murray. Buffalo, I got a lot of faith in them. We're rocking the Bills stuff today. There you go. Coach them one season. So the Los Angeles Rams are 3.5 point underdogs at home against the Buffalo Bills. Can you explain to me why it's this little of a number? I can't. I'll take the Buffalo with the 3.5. 48.5 is the total, plus 150 for the Rams here on the money line. This one's going to move. Set your line alerts here. When you download the BettingPros app, use the custom line alerts because I can't imagine this one not continuing to grow as the week goes on. I don't know why this one's so close to begin with. Any thoughts on this, Erickson?
I would bet Buffalo up to -6, Buffalo -6.5. They're playing. This isn't a road game. They're playing in Los Angeles, where there's going to be more Bills Mafia than there are Los Angeles Rams fans. And hey, the Bills don't have to play in a blizzard. That's great. Great. So I think that you're going to see this offense fire. I mean, the Bills right now, like, I don't know how you can't look at them as, hey, like, this is the team that's going to represent in the AFC, like the Super Bowl team, right? I mean, they would right now, if it was me, I would be betting on the Buffalo Bills. I think that they beat the Chiefs already. They're kind of hitting their stride right now. They're winning in different ways. Like, they even have the guys that they've drafted the highest draft picks the last 2 seasons. They're not even playing. Keon Coleman, out. Dalton Kincaid, out. It doesn't matter. They're getting contributions from everywhere, on offense, on defense. Josh Allen, again, continues to be that. I mean, he's got to be in first place for MVP right now, right?
He is. Yeah, he was going into the game.
Yeah.
So. And now it's his to lose at this point. Like, that's the thing. Like, and that was a point I made yesterday, which was, hey, look, I expect Josh Allen to win. I don't know if Lamar's going to win. If Lamar loses again here, he might have the better stats, and he does. But the better narrative is Josh Allen.
Yeah. Too many. He's got 5 losses. Like, that's too many for Lamar to win MVP.
I agree. I agree 100% with you. So we're on the same page on that one. But where that number is right now too, I can pull it up. But it's everybody wants to make the Barkley narrative too, which is fun and probably honestly true, but that's just not what we know to be a fact nowadays.
It would just change. Yeah, it would change.
Well, Saquon's moved to number 2. He's plus 500. Josh Allen went from plus 125 yesterday in the morning, where I told everybody this is probably the last minus plus you're going to see. Now it's minus 250. So. Yeah, that's where things are with that one. Next up on our list of games for Week 14, we've got the Chicago Bears without a coach and with a different OC taking on the 49ers. God, what a disaster this is. The 49ers are still 6-point favorites. 44.5 is the number, plus 210 on the money line for the Bears. So do the Bears get the coaching fire bounce?
This one is tough because you have the one element of, yes, the head coaching fire bounce, but then you also have, oh no, they just played the Lions. When you play the Lions, you never cover the spread the next week. So you have these two conflicting trends. I think that you got to just take the Bears here. Like, I think, again, going back to the coach thing, this just works over time. If you bet on the team, if you just fire their head coach, especially with someone like Eberflus, who was dead man walking. And it's not like I have so much confidence in, oh, well, it's the 49ers they're playing. Like, you really want to bet on them to cover this spread. The 49ers tend to be really overrated at home anyway, even when they were, had all of their toys and they were actually playing well. So, yeah, I think that a blind bet on the Chicago Bears to cover the spread is probably just the move, and probably don't want to watch this game, to be honest.
Yeah, look, I mean, like, I like the 49ers getting back home, but I don't know, man.
I don't want to bet on the 49ers. Like, I'd rather just bet on the Bears. They covered, at least they covered last week. So whatever.
I think the 6 of the Chicago Bears is where you at, and those second halves too of Caleb Williams, which you might want to do, honestly. You might want to live bet this one too, where you wait, let the Bears fall behind, and then get an even better number on the Bears, maybe, and then bet it, because Caleb Williams the last couple games has been magnificent in the second half. Terrible in the first half, magnificent in the second half. The Los Angeles Chargers. Okay, who are you, Chargers? Now let's really see. let's go against Kansas City Chiefs. The Chiefs came out with a Black Friday victory there, falling on the football at the end of the game. 3.5-point favorites at home, as always. 43.5 is the number, plus 155 on the money line for the Chargers. So, do the Kansas City Chiefs take their second loss? Can the Chargers win a big game when it matters?
I think so. I mean, we know that the Chiefs are gonna lose a game at some point. They can't keep winning like this every single week. I mean, the last 2 weeks they've gone down to the wire with the Raiders and Panthers. Okay, 2 teams that have bottom 5 overall records. The Chargers are not just a good team; they are a playoff contending team. Like this team, I think they're gonna make the playoffs, and I think that they can win postseason games, especially with Harbaugh. And I would not be I really would write off this game against the Falcons. A very weird game where we talked about it on the show with Furman, where the Chargers were facing an uphill battle. Basically, they're coming off a short week playing on the East Coast against a team off a bye week. So everything was kind of working
and without
against
their
them.
Lead running back, too.
Yeah. So everything was really working against them, and they still found a way. Hey, it wasn't pretty. It wasn't their best game, but they still find a way. Again, Kirk Cousins did gift them some help with all those interceptions he was throwing. But hey, teams find ways to win. I think that the Chargers, look, a divisional game playing at Kansas City, I don't think that they're going to be fazed by, oh, no, they're playing Kansas City. It's like, Kansas City's defense has been bad the last couple weeks against guys like O'Connell, and Bryce Young.
They've been opportunistic, so they've saved some moments for them, but they haven't played well overall. I would agree with that.
It's going to run out eventually. I mean, I'm definitely not picking the Chiefs to cover the spread. Like, I think that, yeah, you got to go with the Chargers, keep continuing to fade the Chiefs against the spread. And given that this is a legitimate team, you look at the rest of the schedule for the Chiefs, like what's a game where they could potentially drop? It's Chargers, Browns, Texans, Steelers, and Broncos in Week 18. Is the one that I was so, yeah, the Steelers would be the only other game I could think that they drop, and that's a road game.
The Broncos one is not impossible either. The Broncos took them to their limit.
It's Week 18, though, so we don't know what the Chiefs will be playing for because it could be like, we're locked into 2 no matter what, so we don't really care. But, yeah, I would say Chargers or Steelers are like the most likely games where they potentially lose. So, yeah, I think that Chargers take them against the spread and sprinkle in some dog money.
All right, so that is the night game on Sunday. Monday Night Football, the Cincinnati Bengals and the Dallas Cowboys. The Bengals, 6-point underdogs on the road against Dallas. 6-point favorites, on the road against Dallas. That sounds a lot better. 47.5 is the number, plus 200 on the money line for the Cowboys. So the Cowboys had a victory on Thanksgiving, so Jerry Jones got to enjoy his turkey. Speaking of turkeys, this game kind of feels like one. 47.5, I would take the over here. That's where I'm going. Erickson, your thoughts?
Yeah, see, this is the problem with the Bengals, right? Because every week they lose, but then you look up and the next week they're favored because they had the easiest schedule this year. But it doesn't.
If only they could play good football. If only they could play good football.
Good defense. I mean, they scored 38 points and they lost, right? Like Joe Burrow's going to throw for 5,000 yards, 40 touchdowns, and it doesn't matter because the defense is horrible. It's god awful. They can't stop anybody. So, I guess Cooper Rush has shown enough where it's like, yeah, like they can probably push the ball over the total. We know that the Bengals offensively, their mind is we have to score on every single possession or else we have no chance of winning. So yeah, I think that the over is the play here.
And they pretty much do. I mean, that's like, at least yesterday. I mean, God, that game was wild. Those 900 yards of offense, just about. I mean, crazy day.
Yeah, and this game too, I believe, is the I heard this is the Simpsons game with like all the weird graphics that they're doing.
Oh, right.
Yeah, I think that's the reason why they didn't flex it out of Monday night because they already made all the graphics and like. Well, we're stuck with Bengals Cowboys.
Well, there's got to be a way to find this to be more entertaining. That would definitely be it. So we'll be looking forward to that. Also, another fun tool to use is the BettingPros system. So if you haven't already, check them out. Go to bettingpros.com or just download the app wherever you get your apps. You also get the premium tools for a couple days for free when you do, and you can customize your bets using the systems tool by sport, by bet type, and time frame to find the best opportunities using real-time data and expert analysis. So track the performance of different betting systems over time and optimize your bets to increase your chances of success. Again, download the BP app today, wherever you get your apps, and start betting smarter, not harder. That'll do it for us for the look ahead. Stay on top of things, though, because Matt Peralt and I are going to be doing a new show starting tomorrow on our Discord. FantasyPros.com/chat is good, but BettingPros.com/chat, that's where you want to be for our Discord on the BP side of things. So check out Even Money there with myself and Matt Peralt talking about what's going on in the world of NFL wagering, because there's a lot as we hit that playoff push. So definitely tune in for that. That's going to be on the audio only feed, though, so you'll have to get that if you watch on YouTube only. wherever you get your podcasts audio-wise. Find us there as well, and subscribe to the YouTube channel too. Go win the Lawrence Taylor jersey. That'll do it for us, but the story of the game goes on. For Andrew Erickson, I'm Joey P. We'll see you next time, kids.